30% body fat has to be your ceiling, and here's why. Most men don't panic at 20, 25% body fat. Well, they kind of joke about it, call it a dad bod, but they still feel mostly like themselves, especially if they're in their 30s and 40s. But once it creeps into the 30s, something changes, and it really starts to affect your day to day. Energy lags, you're on kind of a blood sugar roller coaster, maybe even pre diabetic in your blood work. Confidence takes a hit because no clothes seem to fit right. You start getting comments from, coworkers, your spouse about your belly. Sleep generally takes a hit. You start snoring more, and potentially you're at a point where you might even need a CPAP for sleep apnea. And certainly a big one is testosterone tanks. And this is proven. The higher your body fat percentage goes, the more your testosterone hits the dumps, which obviously impacts mood, energy, libido, and everything else. So this is where it stops being, cosmetic, just about a dad bod, and starts to really feel personal, like health risks. You know, at 30%, most men say, "Yeah, I don't want abs, but I want to feel like myself again." Once I hear that, I know they need to make some changes. Instead of using the tools meant for that 20% version of you, where you're kind of eating well some days not. Maybe you go through a streak of consistently working out and then not. And the weekends fall off the rails. At 30%, you're doing a lot more bad than good. And the philosophy needs to change. It's not about like full on intensity, but it's about attention. So whenever a guy in this position asks me what works without burning your life down, because obviously your time is limited at this stage of life, it always comes back to the same five things. The big five framework, we call it in CalFit coaching. That's CAP. Calories and protein, number one, because you need enough protein to protect muscle. You can't overeat consistently. You need to have some structure to your calories in order to lose fat. You all understand the math on that. Number two is just activity, general daily steps. 8,000 is the floor we're aiming for. 10,000 is kind of the ceiling. Beyond that, yes, you get more benefit from calorie burning perspective, but time-wise, it's not very efficient. It doesn't have to be a ton of HIIT sessions. It's just brisk walking, okay? Getting consistent with that. Three is the strength training piece because it works in conjunction with the protein, where we're trying to preserve muscle so you don't look like a bag of milk at the end after losing 30 pounds. What's the point in that? You want to preserve muscle and bone and lose the body fat. So nothing totally fancy. It's lifting weights. It's not group fitness classes where you're sweating your bag off. You're trying to get stronger using the foundational pieces to strength training, progressive overload, enough volume, which is, your sets times reps, maybe averaging out to 10 sets per muscle group per week split up. That's the sweet spot. Four is as simple as it sounds, your hydration situation. 3 liters of water, the 3L club. Sounds boring, does change everything because it manages your energy, your recovery, your appetite, and certainly when you're hydrated, you make better choices. And last but not least is the true multiplier, your sleep. Easier said than done, but trying to get 7+ hours per night, because when sleep's off, everything else fights you. It has the cascade effect of you snacking more, moving less, and just having a lot less willpower at the start of the day. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Embrace the big five if you want a cheat sheet that kind of gives you a checklist for each day so you can kind of follow it along. Just DM me the word big five. Comment below if you can't find my DM inbox, and we'll send that over to you. All right. Cheers.